It looks like now that Armenia's people, although under heavy Russian pressure, still chose to have a European future, which is a good thing. And of course, I mean, we are trying to help them as much as possible also on their future reforms. Thank you.
Representative, what do you make of the uncovering of Ireland providing such huge amounts of alumina to Russia? I mean, it's not under sanctions, but do you think this is something you should talk about with member states? It's really been quite shocking.
Always when we have these information coming out that one way or the other what is helping Russia, then we should also be more creative in finding ways how we can actually stop this war. Because if there's a thought that we still, some of us still benefit from trading with Russia at the same time when it is actually making it easier for them to fund this war, then this war will never stop. That's why, the focus of our sanctions has been to really, get the funding of the war to other places so that they can't really continue with this, because wars also end when aggressors run out of money.
But does the Irish government have a moral responsibility to look at stopping this trade?
It is not under sanctions. That is very true. I think it's more what we should look into. Maybe we should put also sanctions if it is helping Russia that much on funding this war.
Ira, what's your take on yesterday's E3 meeting with Ukraine? Do you see negotiations anywhere near in the future, and what has Europe to do to support Ukraine?
We have to make everything so that Russia and Ukraine will talk to each other, because eventually they have to agree. At the same time, we have to keep our core European interests also in mind, because there are also some issues that are concerning us when it comes to sanctions relief, when it comes to unfreezing of the assets, and for that we also need to see some European core security interests respected. And in those 5 points that the E3 was also putting forward, the European core security interests are mentioned. I recall that last week we had the discussion with the foreign ministers. What are these core interests? What are our asks for Russia? So I hope that these are all taken into account.
Do you see any willingness on the Russian side to go into negotiations?
Not directly. I mean, we see the escalation of their attacks. I mean, they should first start with ceasefire and to negotiation table. But at the same time, we also see some movement inside, Russia, that they are not happy with this war continuing, and that's why we need to put more pressure on them and also increase our support for Ukraine.
But shouldn't also the European Union be more involved in these negotiations for potential peace talks? Because now, more and more, there's the E3 meeting taking place as yesterday, but shouldn't the EU and more member states be more involved?
As I said, last week we had a discussion with the 27 member states, which was on the substance of preparing, negotiations. What are our asks? Whoever talks to the Russians. I think this is more substantial. Whoever then goes to talk to them has to also put these concessions and asks on the table. I think this is important. At the same time, I also feel that the Russians are not really there yet, so that's why we also need to have more strategic patience, that we are not the demandeurs, but actually Russia needs to talk to us, because they also want to end this war, and let's start with ceasefire.
How much progress are you making on the EU's anti-drone capabilities? We've seen the drone explode in the port just since we've seen you last. We are working on this, and of course also hand in hand with NATO, to increase these capabilities. And actually today the discussions will also be about the Ukrainian defense industry incorporating with European industry, because they have the knowledge when it comes to the drones, and we should not invent a bicycle. So we are really trying to push this forward to also use the funding that we have currently on the table.
Okay.
One more question on Middle East. Like after yesterday night, like a ceasefire seems even more unlikely, at least for the moment. Is the European Union now just like doomed to wait for a ceasefire, or are you considering to bring something more in terms of support also for the US?
The issue is, of course, that eventually, when it comes to the Strait of Hormuz, for example, then Iran and United States need to agree. So, of course, we are saying that there has to be a diplomatic solution, and they have to sit around the table because eventually they have to agree on this. Of course, we can help with, the after the ceasefire, also the escorting of the ships, and we will discuss this today. But the first point is really the ceasefire. Of course, we are in touch with both parties to really give them this message that ceasefire is very much weighted. I mean, stopping this war right now, opening the Strait of Hormuz, and then using the time for longer discussions when it comes to the more difficult topics like nuclear, but other critical issues that are there. But there's only so much we can do, so we are trying to, put these messages forward, yes. Thank you.